Greetings. Are you ready? I have tragically no cats. I have no cats today. I do, however, have this extremely exuberant skeleton. So I got that going for me. Hi. Let me bring this up so I can actually see chat on my handy dandy little phone. Dame, enjoy your lurk. Hello, Leo and Bow and Arrows. Welcome, Yaneli. Bow and Arrows, enjoy your lurk as well. If anyone has trypophobia, maybe not your stream. Maybe not your stream. I probably should have mentioned that in Discord because I know that Sassy has trypophobia, but she'll figure it out. Probably pretty quickly. Yeah, we're going to be doing another edition of mug nails, but instead of mug, it is tumbler. And if you haven't been here for mug nails before, it's when I take a piece from my extensive pottery collection and try to recreate it on my nails. Yeah, it's a good lurking day. Bow and arrows. Yeah, I suspect there are a few people that might find this a little off-putting. It's not like an explicitly gross design or anything. I mean, you can see it up in the corner here that the skeleton is looking at. Yeah, it's not an explicitly gross design, but it definitely has a little bit of that like alien egg sort of biological vibes, which I personally love. But I understand that some people may find it a little off-putting. So if that's you, I won't be offended if you don't want to stick around. It's all good. Hello. And happy Tuesday to you as well. Yeah, so we're gonna be doing some mug nails, and featuring work from an artist that we have done mug nails from before. So this is an artist who I think, yeah, I have more work from this artist than I do from any other single ceramic artist. Hey, Jules, welcome. Enjoy your lurk. Yeah, so his name is Alex, and he's Ukrainian. So I'm probably going to mispronounce his last name, but it's Alex Mrachkovskiy. Mrachkovskiy. I think the Ukrainians do the V sound. Anyway, Alex Mrachkovskiy. I will type his handle in chat. I think it's also on the description for the video, but his Instagram is this that I've just put in the chat here. So that is his Instagram handle. And all of his work, all of the work on his Instagram is done by himself and his assistant slash friend, possibly. I don't know exactly what the dynamic of their relationship is, but she has taken over a lot of the day-to-day workings of the studio and a lot of the decoration work on the pieces since he was drafted into the Ukrainian army. And so, of course, that conflict is ongoing, and so he is still often away from his studio. But her handle is Svitlo. She doesn't really post a lot of a lot of pottery work on her own Instagram, but I've typed it in there as well, Svitlo. I think her name is something like Olia, but don't quote me on that. I could be totally misremembering that. I'm sure it starts with an O, but anyway, I have about a dozen or so pieces from Alex. I adore his work. He does a lot of nature inspired stuff, a lot of sci fi inspired stuff, some sort of steampunk, really wonderful textural pieces. And I believe, I'm not 100% certain, but I believe I vaguely recall that he had gotten into Scavenger's Reign. He had mentioned something about Scavenger's Reign around the time that this design first started cropping up in his studio. And if you're not familiar with Scavenger's Reign, it's an animated show, a series that explores basically. Oh shoot! I just realized I forgot to plug my camera in, so we're gonna lose my camera for just a second while I switch over the battery to the other thing. But anyway, basically explores or follows a group of scientists who basically become abandoned on a planet. They crash land on an alien planet, and it's weird and bad, but also cool. And there's some really interesting biology that if you find this kind of imagery upsetting or disturbing or a little bit off-putting, you'll hate it. But it is brilliant. It's a brilliant, beautiful show. And so, hey, Sassy, welcome. I talked about you at the beginning of stream, or rather I mentioned you at the beginning of stream because I said Sassy and other people with trypophobia may want to skip this one, but maybe you just don't want to look. You can hang out and lurk if that's your thing. Hopefully this doesn't set you off. But I understand some people have quite severe trypophobia and find this sort of thing disturbing. At any rate, he has since then done a bunch of pieces with this basic design and just colored a bunch of different ways. So what Alex and, again, I believe her name is Olia, what they do is, so he'll like sculpt a basic piece, sort of a basic form, and then create a mold from that form. And then, basically reproduce. He'll be able to pour and reproduce the basic form, but then customize it a bunch of different ways. And they do a bunch of sculpting and surface decorating based on those functional forms. So, I'm glad that it hasn't set you off. I'm so happy. Hopefully my nails won't either, but I will understand if they do. Yeah, they do some really beautiful texture work. Halu Holly, if you're looking at their Instagram, the way they manage to recreate rust textures, the rust and the wood against each other, those surfaces coming together on some of their work is truly extraordinary. Really, really neat work. Yeah. Sometimes it can be unsettling in a good, interesting way. And I know a lot of people like this. They also do a lot of stuff that's matte, not glossy. They use a special kind of waterproofing coating that makes it so that it's still functional despite being matte. You can still use it for food and whatnot. But I know a lot of people also have trouble with like the feeling and the sound of touching these things. But like this is very like, it's quite pitted. It's obviously been textured with like a wire brush or something like that. A wire brush is, if you're not familiar with ceramic arts tools, it's well, I mean, it's exactly like the wire brush you would use as a cleaning tool. So it's like a toothbrush, but with wire bristles instead of plastic bristles. They're, come in a bunch of different sizes, and you literally just stab the surface gently to get textures like this. And then, parts of it have been sort of roughly brushed as well around here to get this more sort of lightly textured surface. And then the whole thing is done matte with a satin glaze on the inside and this crystal coating that makes it waterproof. So they use these kinds of techniques and textures that are not as common in functional ceramic work, but their work is mostly functional. So I don't mean it's mostly functional. I mean most of their work is functional. So this is a completely functional tumbler that you could drink out of, and it's totally food safe. So I love that about their work, that they do this like kind of incredible artwork on pieces that are really intended to be used. Yeah, the wood surfaces are amazing, aren't they? Anyway, so we're going to try and recreate this on my nails. Hey, Heather, welcome. And I have pulled just 4 colors for this, and I think that's all we're going to need. So I've grabbed See Y'all Later Chai for my base color. It's slightly darker, but I think it's still going to work. And then I grabbed 2 blues because I think we're going to want do a little bit of mixing here. I think it's most of it is really close to Scientific. This is my old Scientific, so it's faded and the colors changed slightly. I have a new unopened one that we discovered last week is a fairly different color. But this is my old faded Scientific. I am going to blend in a little bit of board meeting for at least portions of it to try and get a little bit of variegation in here. And then I have Desert Monitor from Dimension Nails, the now defunct Dimension Nails. And this looks pretty black on camera, but it's definitely a dark brown. So those are the only colors I've pulled for this. And I don't think it's going to be a super, super long stream today. I think that I'm probably going to get through this within 2 hours for sure. I also have, and I might end up mixing a little bit of this as well. This is Butter Me Up, also from Holotaco. I may end up using a little of this to mix to lighten up parts of this part, and also to mix in a little bit of the Scientific for bits of it. Yeah, it's not really like there's a little bit of some periwinkle. I guess it's more in some areas than others. Yeah, you know what? You're right. There is a bit of periwinkle in there that I was not noticing before I got into this more intense lighting. I should grab a periwinkle. Yeah. What do I have for that? Let's see. I have a true periwinkle. I do have this. Yeah, that looks pretty close. It's slightly more purple, but I think if we're just dry brushing it on. So this is Bloom with a View from Dom Nail Polish. They're a little more crelly-ish than a proper creme, but yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah, oh, that's right. I have, so I actually posted a little video in my stories that I said was my full collection, and then I realized afterwards it's not at all my full collection because I have some of their cat tumblers. They're tiny though. They're like small little things. I have several of those, and I have some of their little white houses as well. And do I have any of them here? I think they're all downstairs. I had some up here for a little while. But yeah, I completely forgot about them because they're not in the same display case. They're displayed elsewhere. Well, so see y'all later chai. It's not actually too yellow. It looks a little too yellow on screen. What it is a little too dark, but this is too light. And so we're gonna have to do a little blendy for sure. But yeah. So I think I'm just gonna set this aside. And maybe I should bring up, I think I have a still shot of this that I can put on screen. Actually, that's not a very good still shot though. Well, it's just the lighting isn't great on it. I do have the one from the, hang on. I have the one from the artist, their photo. So maybe I'll just put that on screen so that y'all can see. Why can I? Okay. Hang on. I'm just going to make it so y'all can see the reference while I'm painting this. If I can find the dang thing. Hello. There it is. So we'll open that in here. And then make this visible. There we go. All right, so y'all can see the reference as well. Okay. So I think I'm going to start with, I might start with the one that's a little too light and dry brush the one that's a little too dark over top and see where that gets us. I may need to, or maybe even sponge actually. I could lightly sponge the one that's a little too dark over top of the one that's a little too light. We're probably going to end up doing a bit of sponge work here today because some of these textures, it's just going to be, oh my goodness. Just realized I got my base in my my proximal nail fold there. But yeah, the textures are all like really doing interesting things, and since texture is sort of like the biggest, most important part of this piece, I feel like I really want to try and focus on that and not just on the colors that I'm using. It is so freaking hot in here, y'all. We're like right at that borderline temperature where we don't like to start the air conditioning yet. We tend to prefer to keep the windows open as long as possible. I'm being real lazy about how I'm applying this, by the way. It's not a shitty creme. I don't care if it's smooth. In fact, I don't want it to be smooth. But yeah, so we'll like leave it pretty late before we turn the AC on. And currently it is 29 degrees Celsius out there and we have all the windows open because we are stubborn. I'm not converting that. I don't know, it's hot. I'm sorry, Americans. You're just gonna have to convert it yourselves. This is the Euros stream. Tuesday afternoon stream is for the Euros, so we're not doing translations today. You're afraid to go look at the artist's website as your ceramics receptor is still active from your USSR crockery obsession from yesterday. That is so valid. That is so valid. Yeah. They also just did an update. So this particular piece was on my radar for several months. And I kept resisting and being like, somebody needs to buy this freaking thing. Like, somebody somewhere has to buy this, because if somebody doesn't buy it soon, I'm not going to be able to continue resisting it. It was months. And finally, he had another sale, and I was like, oh, fuck. And I had like just been paid for some swatching. I was like, okay, I'm doing it. Fuck it. I'm doing it. What's that?
It's destiny.
Yeah, you saw I made an appointment for Timony this evening. We're going to the vet this evening.
Oh, we are.
At 6:30 or 6:40 is his appointment.
Okay.
Yeah, for his tooth. Because if it gets infected, it's a problem.
Yeah, I suspect he may have jumped, and is it the upper one?
It's one of the canines.
May have hit the floor.
Yeah. Timony has a broken fang. Not sure when it happened. He has shown zero sign of discomfort whatsoever. So either it happened this morning after he had his breakfast, or, he's just not showing any signs of it, of discomfort from it, which, cats can be like that. But, you'll often be able to tell by the way they're eating, like their appetite will be reduced, or they'll only be eating in one side of the mouth or whatever. In fact, I remember noticing him eating yesterday, not because he was eating funny, but because he was like really going to town. So I was like, well, if he was going to town that hard on it, either it's not hurting him, or it hadn't happened yet at that point. But with cats, if they have an infection, it's like it can be a real problem for their kidneys. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Probably means there's a very good chance he's going to have to stay overnight if he does need any kind of oral surgery. I don't know if there's any pulp exposed in his mouth or not, or in that tooth or not. So they're going to have to take a look at him, possibly under anesthetic, to determine whether they need to do a root canal or extract the tooth, or what the deal is going to be. But yeah, poor little guy. They're so good at masking discomfort. It's true. Yeah, you didn't miss much yet, Kat. There wasn't much tooth talk either until like just a minute ago. What there was talk about the artist whose work I am trying to recreate on my nails today. Who I have featured before, Alex Mrachkovskiy. Gosh, if he ever sees these, man. Alex Mrachkovskiy. I'm not Ukrainian. I'm doing my best. Yeah. Anyway, he's the same guy that did the, those cute leaf mugs that I have. I know you've seen those. And I have done mug nails based on those before. I think. Did I do leaf mugs? I think I did leaf mugs once. I definitely did the weird horned forest spirit thing. Zane had 2 extractions yesterday. Oof. Poor thing. Yeah, I'm hoping that this is just the tip of his fang and there's no pulp exposed, but I have a feeling that it's too deep for that. So we'll see. We'll see what the vet says. It would really suck for him to have to, go through a dental surgery and whatnot. Suck for us too. Those are expensive. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like, we're significantly more concerned. I don't know why I went up to the top on this nail, because this is going to be the opposite direction. I really should have left that. But yeah, we're obviously significantly more concerned about his health and well-being than we are about the vet bills. But the vet bills are not nothing. I would really like to not have to pay a bunch of money. Especially when Jamie and Budgie are due for their annual, and they're senior cats. So of course, they now have significantly more expense associated with their annual checkups because they have to get full blood work done and everything. Because that's just how it goes when you're a senior cat. They want more information. There's a lot more to check because there's a lot more that can be wrong. Yeah, 4 cats, 2 senior. We're expecting some vet bills. It's inevitable. We just cross our fingers that they're not crazy excessive too often. Jamie already costs us a bloody fortune with her monthly injections. And of course, the 2 old ladies are on prescription food. And the 2 younger ones, their food is not much cheaper. So yeah. It's the price of having pets. It's just how it goes. I have been a staunch believer for my entire life that if you have cats or pets of any kind, you simply have to be willing to do what you need to do to make sure that their health needs are taken care of. And it's just, that's the deal you make with the pet when you bring them into your life. You're agreeing to take care of them. And sometimes that means you have to give them up, and that's really fucking sad, but I'm never going to judge somebody for needing to do that if that's what's best for their pet. But yeah. Gotta take care of them kitties and puppers. Cat litter has absolutely excuse me. Oh. Man, that took me by surprise. Yeah, cat litter has gotten crazy expensive. You are not wrong about that. It has absolutely gotten crazy expensive. Everything has gotten crazy expensive. We also use like a flushable, low tracking corn-based cat litter because I can't have the silicone, like the silica based, the gravels and such. The dust destroys me. I can't have it in the house. I can't smell it. It's oof. Totally kills me. Whenever we go to take care of our grand kitties, as soon as I walk in the door, I feel like I'm being punched in the face with it because they use, a standard sort of clumping gravel type litter. And yeah, my sinuses go insane the second I go in there. It's brutal. Okay. Next part, we have some of that periwinkle that someone pointed out. Who pointed that out? Was that Katya? Who did that? I don't know who did that. Someone pointed it out. Yeah, so we'll dry brush a little bit of that on next. And since I don't really have a good way to properly dry brush, I'm just using this this gradient brush to sort of simulate the experience. And I don't have quite enough out. You do okay with the gravel litter? I can't. It destroys me. Okay, this we're gonna just sort of mush it on there. And then here, and we're not gonna do a ton of it. Yeah, I love dry brushing ceramic stuff as well. I miss pottery so much. I really miss playing with mud. I loved it. It was so good for my brains. Okay, so that's going to be our little bit of purpley tones. That's it for that. The litter situation in general is your biggest reason for not wanting a cat. That's fair. There's truly no such thing as cat litter that is completely non-tracking. You're going to have some amount of it tracked. You're going to find bits of litter in your bed, and that's just all there is to it. And it doesn't matter how carefully you clean. It doesn't matter. You're going to find cat litter in your bed. Hopefully not often. Hopefully not much of it. But it's going to happen. You're going to find it in there. I don't know why I put the lid back on this. I'm definitely going to need more of this blue. You took over trash and litter boxes in trade for not having to do dishes. Yeah, I'm in charge of the litter boxes. Litter boxes and cooking are my two main chores that belong to just me. Most chores we trade off on. Although I would say Brian does significantly more of the housework in general than I do. But yeah, litter is always me. And cooking is always me. And dishes are always him unless I do like a lot of baking or like special stuff. In which case it's a bit too much for him to have to deal with all of it. And I have to, do some of the cleaning partway through a big baking session anyway, because I need those same dishes again for other stuff. Okay. Cat litter and cat hair everywhere, yeah. See, we have litter boxes on every floor. So with 4 cats, like, you just have to, you have to. You really have to have at least as many cat boxes as you have cats. And we have the old ladies live upstairs on the 3rd floor, and the kids live on the first 2 floors. So there's 2 upstairs, and then 1 on the main floor and 1 in the basement. So the 2 upstairs are because the old ladies sometimes have to relinquish portions of the upstairs so that the kids can go hang out in Dad's office or Mom's studio, and so there needs to be a litter box that's like in the area that the old ladies will get trapped in when that happens, which is our bedroom. Okay. Now, I do also want to add some of the darker blue in here, but I think that's only going to be in the areas where the brown eggy shapes aren't. You put all dishes in the washer and all colors in the same load of laundry. This is not a household for delicates. Welcome to the washer gauntlet. So all of our wash goes in the wash together. All of our dishwasher, or all of our washing machine stuff, all our clothes go in the washing machine together. But I do it on cold, and we don't really have like whites that need to stay white. Like, we don't really wear white a lot. And neither of us owns clothing that is super delicate, so we just wash everything on cold. And then the separation is just, does it go in the dryer or does it get hung to dry? That's it. That's the only separation in the laundry. Except every once in a while, if I need to like do a super hot load for towels or something like that, because sometimes they kind of get that build up and they need a little strip. Yeah, I have no idea how Cricket broke his tooth. The only thing we can think, because he does, he's very active and he like zooms around like crazy. The only thing we can think is that maybe he face planted hard enough. But I don't know. We're not sure how it happened. And he's so young, like he only just got his adult teeth, like the poor little guy. Okay, so we're gonna do some very large ones and some smaller ones, and then a handful of teensy ones. And for this, I'm not like following the distribution of the ones on the actual tumbler. I'm just putting them where I want, where I think that they will look good. I could just use the bottle brush for this part. That's probably going to be a lot easier, huh? And then let's do a smaller one here. You do your own laundry and then share household laundry. I can see that being a thing, especially if one of you has like stuff that needs to be handled delicately. I just refuse to own clothing that needs special treatment beyond being hung to dry. Hanging to dry is not, that's just like, that's easy. That's the same amount of work as as needing to be thrown in the dryer and then folded and put away. Like, it's the same for me. Um, but if you need to be like, you know, treated some special way and then like pressed or whatever, fuck it. You're not that important. You don't need to be in my closet if you're going to be precious about shit. I refuse. All right, let's go one like this. Maybe he thought teeth would keep growing in. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's possible Cinna did a finishing move on him. That's entirely possible. They do have some pretty epic battles. Although, you know, so far she's never been so rough with him that he couldn't take it. She's never caused any actual damage that we know of. There's been the occasional claw that went in a little too deep or something, but nothing outside of the sort of standard realm of experience for cats. You don't have a dryer so everything gets hung? Yeah. Yeah, all of our t-shirts, all of our shirts get hung. Anything that has like, you know, graphics on it gets hung. Any knits of any kind get hung. So it's really like, mostly it's socks and underwear, and towels and bed sheets that go into the dryer. Yeah, who the hell knows? Truly, he could have done any number of things to that tooth. Cats are idiots. But yeah, we wanna make sure that there's no exposed nerves or exposed pulp, so that we end up risking infection, or we don't want him to be in pain, obviously. So better to take him in and find out it was unnecessary than to not take him in and find out that we really should have. You know? All right. For a lot of things with cats, I've had enough cats over the years that have had enough minor medical issues and a few major ones, that I sort of have a pretty good sense of when you can just wait and see, which is a lot of the time. With cats, a lot of the time you can just wait and see. But there's certain things that I am not going to fuck around with. And a potential tooth infection is one of them. Because they are so good at pretending that everything is fine. And those kidney issues from infections, ooh boy, it is very much a thing. Yeah, totally could have been a jump fail. Would not be surprised. What have I thought about the new Mooncat collection so far? Conceptually, I think it's cool. I am intrigued by the neon solar. Um, as usual, I do not feel that their marketing is directed at me, despite the actual subject matter being right up my alley. Um, I am unlikely to buy, in large part because I have so much nail polish, and also because Mooncat is so very expensive. And they're so big, you know? Like, I kind of feel at this point that I overall tend to prefer to spend my money at very small indies, where my one little purchase actually makes a difference to their bottom line. I don't know. That's just sort of an overall philosophy with buying anything that is not like something I need to live at this point. If I don't need it, and if there's a, you know, an independent artist that I could get it from, then that's always going to be my preference. Which, you know, doesn't mean that I refuse to buy from bigger stores. Obviously, like, you know, I have to go to the grocery store. Those are big corporate chains, all of them pretty much. But yeah, where I'm able to, I tend to prefer to buy from smaller makers. But it looks like I love the concept behind the collection, and the polishes I've seen so far look nice. The one that's really intriguing to me so far is the solar, the neon solar, just because I have not seen anyone do a solar that is also neon. That's a cool combination, I think. I feel like I want this one to be bigger. I may have watered that down a little too much, but yeah, like I have nothing against Mooncat or anything. I just don't tend to buy from them. I have a few. Okay. Actually, let's make this one big up against here. Your only polish this month was plates. The rest of your birthday spending is for tattoo. Yeah. I put in a booking request today for a tattoo. Hopefully, I will be able to get in. This is for when we're in Chicago at PBE. Putting in my request early. I'm really hoping. So the plan, if everything goes well, is for Alyssa and I to go together to the studio and both get tattoos from the same artist, but non-matching tattoos. We just both really like the same artist's work and felt like it would be cool and convenient to do that together. So oh yeah, that's a really good point. When you're buying from a franchise as opposed to like just a multinational, it's like at least then you know it's benefiting the individual that owns that particular franchise. which, you know, if it's a community member, if it's someone who lives in the area who owns the franchise, then that tends to mean that that money, or at least a good portion of that money, is staying in your community in the form of taxes and spending, and that's a good thing. So I agree with you. If you have to go with a big chain, but there's a franchise option as opposed to just a, you know, a corporate owned version, that can be a nice way to make sure that you're spending a little bit more responsibly, a little bit more ethically in your community. What kind of tattoo? I want to do something that combines nail polish and bugs. And so I am thinking about maybe doing something like a nail polish bottle, like with the polish spilling out onto a beetle or something like that. I don't know. I'm like very open to, and actually tend to prefer to allow the artist to come up with their own ideas. Because they tend to have cool ideas that I wouldn't think of, and also they know what they excel in, and what they will be able to do well, versus me trying to sort of force a style or design choice that they don't feel that they're the right artist for. I've also found that artists tend to be more likely to choose to work with people who want to give them some freedom, some artistic freedom to do their own thing. And sometimes that can be the deciding factor. If if they have a lot of booking requests and there's somebody that really wants something done in that artist's style, and they want to give the artist some room for to take liberties, that can often be the deciding factor for some artists. So yeah. I think now that I'm seeing this, I think I want to make this spot on this thumbnail much larger. I think I'm going to go ahead and really basically swallow up this smaller portion here. And make this a real big dot. Great big egg. Great big egg. Yeah. I do still want a little thingy here. Do I want it there? I want it here. There. Yeah, that's better. Okay. You saw a cool bug tattoo the other day? I always want to see cool bug tattoos, Leo. You have to make sure they're actually cool, though, because if you show me one that is like on someone's elbow and they unfold and the thing turns out to have 8 legs when it should only have 6, you're in trouble for not noticing that. A sick-ass panther. Probably book with the same person again for Melon Lord, though, just to keep the avatar stuff in the same style. Oh, yeah. for your SpongeBob tattoo. Yeah, I mean, you want to go to an artist with ideas, right? You don't want to be like, I don't know, whatever you want, because then it's like that's not cool. Unless you really know. Like if you've been going to an artist for years and you have an established relationship with them and they know what you like and they've designed a lot of stuff for you and you've had a ton of conversations, then they may know you well enough, they may feel confident enough that you can go to them and say, I want you to create something that you think is cool, that you want to do, that you think I will enjoy. And in those circumstances, sometimes that can be reasonable. But to just go to an artist and be like, I don't know, whatever, do whatever you want, that's like often a recipe for disaster. So going to an artist, this has become tattoo tips. Tattoo tips with Peggy. Going to an artist with a concept, but a willingness to be flexible and let them play, and let them take the lead on the design can be a really good thing. You often end up with a much better tattoo that way. Peggy, did you ever see the spider boss from Resident Evil? Yeah, I did. I did see the spider boss. That was a pretty good spider boss, I gotta say. I was like, that was a pretty legit spider boss. I appreciated that they did not make it too stupid. It was a spider. It was a mutated spider, but it was absolutely a spider. Let's see how dark this is before I go adding more. Yeah, we want a little bit more. Yeah, I was pretty happy with that. Yeah, concept of an idea. Just a concept of an idea. Yeah, if you want an artist to do whatever they want and you don't have a relationship with them, Kat's right. Just pick from their Flash. They have Flash. And if there's nothing that you want from their Flash and you don't like it, they're not the right artist for you to say, do whatever you want. That's just all there is to it. They might be the right artist for you to say, hey, I love your style. I want something with your style, but with this concept or this theme or these elements. That's totally valid. That's a great way to do it. All right. Leo, I saw you say that you put it in the Discord, so I will go take a look at that in a moment. Just want to try and get this part done. Doing some of this darker blue in a few areas. Oof. That was too much. Too much. Too thick. Not too dick, too thick. Okay. There we go. Oh my god, it's so hot in here. Okay, let's see what Leo put in the Discord. It is on Instagram. It's a reel, so I don't know if it's going to show up properly. UU Studio Caterpillar and Ladybug piece. Can y'all see this properly? Oh, it's cute. That's very cute. I like that. That is very cute. That's a cute piece, Leo. You did good. You've chosen wisely. All right, I'll put that back there. Yeah, some of your favorites have been flashes. I only have one piece that was flash, but I truly adore it, and I feel that it really represents me. So I get it. Yeah, they're artists, but it's also a job, so you have to give them a starting point. Your artist was just telling you about someone who wanted something something with clocks and then got angry because the clock looked similar to what he'd seen at the gym. Yeah. Yeah, clocks are a wildly common tattoo. If you choose a subject matter that is wildly common, the chances that you're going to have something that looks at least a little bit similar to what somebody else has go up. Surprise, surprise. Like nobody should be shocked about this. You know, if what you want is a tattoo that's a lion and a clock and a rose, you're going to get one of the multiple variations that has been done 1,000 times of a lion and a clock and a rose. And at some point in time, there's a good chance you're going to see somebody else with a similar tattoo because a lot of people get a lion and a clock and a rose or whatever. like, like if you're asking for a sailor style tattoo that says mom on a little banner with an anchor, you're probably going to see that tattoo somewhere. Yeah, the trash panda is the one that was was flash. Hang on, let me show you. Let me show you my trash panda. This oof oof. There's my trash panda. That's my baby. Oh, it's too bright. It's too bright. There. That's actually slightly better, I think. Anyway, that's my baby. And yeah, that one was flash. It was part of a Pride Flash event, and I said, bisexual colors trash panda with candy in a unicorn costume. It's me. It's me. So yeah, had to have that. Yeah, you can't have a clock that doesn't look like a clock. There was some artist who was talking about recently on Instagram. I can't remember who it is. It's somebody that like I don't follow them, but they get suggested to me a lot, and every once in a while I watch their videos, and so they keep getting suggested to me a lot, but I don't actually want to follow them. But they were talking about someone who wanted a mermaid tattoo, but they didn't want any like fishy elements. They didn't want her to have a fish tail. They didn't want scales. They didn't want seashells. They didn't want any like anything sort of oceany around it, but they wanted her to be a mermaid. And like to me at that point as the artist, I'd be like, I don't think that I can make you happy. So I would fire that client. But you know, this person went ahead and apparently did the tattoo, and the client like approved the drawing and approved the location. They had the stencil on, they did the whole thing. She had multiple chances to say, you know what, actually I don't love it, let's not do this. He checked with her a bunch of times, and she ended up not happy with it. And I'm like, that's a client you should have fired. You should have fired. Leo, you never would have guessed that my raccoon was Flash. It's so me. Yeah. Exactly. That's what I said when I saw it. It's like, I require this on my body because it's me. Yeah, Dame, how is that even a mermaid? Exactly. That's just a fucking human woman. That's just a human woman. What are you talking about? Like, do you not know what a mermaid is? Are you confused about the concept of a mermaid? Maybe they're confused about the concept of a mermaid. Just a large human skin tail, like one big finger. Oh no, Leo. Leo, I hate it. Take back what you just said. That's terrible. That's a terrible thing you just said. It's just a fucking thumb. A mermaid with a thumb. Just a big fucking thumb for a tail. Oh my god. Yeah. Honestly, that might have been what she wanted. Yeah, I don't know if she like didn't know what a mermaid was or like was using the wrong word or like was confused or maybe she just wanted a free tattoo and wanted to like not have to pay for whatever the hell she got. But yeah, I don't know. It's some crazy shit. Did they mean milkmaid? Yeah, really. This artist someone in Discord recommended I follow. Which artist? A lot of people won't say anything until the tattoo is on you. Yeah, like I don't get that. I do not get that at all. You need to be communicating with your tattoo artist. I do have like I have one tattoo where like it's a style that I would not have chosen for myself. Um it's not my favorite tattoo, but I think the artist did a good job of it. So I don't like hate it or regret it so much. But if I'd had more opportunity, because it was one of those artists that like doesn't show you the concept sketch or even tell you anything about it until you show up. And then like I had, we'd driven for a couple of hours to get to their studio and it was like a whole thing. And so there's like a different level of pressure that you feel under those kinds of circumstances. So I guess I can kind of get it in that way. But if it was straight up wasn't something, like if it was something that I knew I didn't want, I would definitely have just been like, no, this is not. Let's redraw it. Not this. It was more like this isn't totally my style, but I can work with it. And it's kind of cool. And honestly, like she did a good job. And it looks cool. But I'm glad it's on my thigh and not like on my arm. Okay. It'd be funny if she meant a manatee. Absolutely. Yeah. No, it wasn't Felix Made This that did that one. It was somebody else. But Felix Made This, I love. I've been following Felix Made This for a long time. You have shitty tattoos from your youth? Yeah. I didn't get any tattoos when I was young, and so I don't have any shitty tattoos from my youth, so I don't have anything that I like really would want to cover. But I definitely would have done some very silly things if I'd gotten tattoos when I was a kid. Although I do think I would not hate the tattoo concept that I came up with when I was like 15 or 16 years old that I really wanted back then and never got. I don't think I would get it now. But I also wouldn't hate it now. And I think that's something. that's, that's something. And I know somebody is going to ask before I even look. It would be a dragon around my wrist, in a very specific style that I used to doodle. It would just be a simple black little dragon. Okay. Got that bit. Now I need to go back in with the darker blue in a couple of spots. Again. Too needle phobic to have any tattoos? Valid. One of your clients asked, have you ever done pressies and they didn't like them? And you said no because you would never let the situation get to that. Yeah, I think like that's the thing is that, you know, it is your responsibility to make sure that you're giving your client something that they will like. But also like if the client lies to you and tells you that they're happy with it and then later on is like, actually, I hate it. I don't know what you could possibly do to fix that situation, besides like be psychic. Like you would literally have to be reading their damn mind to know if they're just gonna freaking lie to you about whether they like it or not. Your only youth tat is words on your ribs. I've never had any desire to have words on me. In fact, I think I hate the idea of having words on me. Like it's fine for other people, obviously. Like I don't think that like having words in a tattoo is like bad or stupid or anything. It's just extremely not me. I don't think I would ever want that. I'm definitely more of an imagery person, for sure. I would like to get more bacteria-related stuff at some point. But probably more as filler rather than as main designs. Other than that, I mostly just want more bug. More bug. Lots more bug. Always more bug. Okay. I think we're making pretty good progress here. You would look like an Affliction t-shirt if you had gotten tattoos you wanted as a kid. It's true it doesn't feel like a needle, but brains are brains, and you can't tell them that they're wrong about things that they've decided. And so, you know, I do know people who are needle phobic who do just fine with tattoos. But I also know people who are not okay with either one, and I think that's valid. Both ways are valid. I am fine with both tattoos, obviously, and needles. I have never had an issue with them. That thing where people are like, okay, look away when you're going to get a needle. I'm like, nope. I need to watch it. Watching it is what makes it okay. It would be less okay if I'm not able to watch it. It's the same thing. I got stitches in my hand when I was a kid, and I had to watch the whole thing. If I got bugs, I get them be anatomically accurate on the outside and have exposed steampunk clockwork inside. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. I'm always a different person than I was yesterday, so it's no use for me to worry about if I'll like it later on. That's exactly it, right? Like my tastes have changed so much over my life. My tastes and my interests and my many hyper focuses have changed so much over my life. But I don't hate the things that I used to love. They just don't interest me much anymore. So for me, it wouldn't be like a problem or a bad thing to have stuff on me that was relevant to an earlier stage in my life. It would be fine. It would just not represent who I am now. But that's okay. Not everything has to represent who you are right now. I think it's fine. I don't think that's quite the color that I want this to be. I think instead of that, I want it to be this lighter tone, but with a little bit of brown added to it. Let's try that. I'm trying to figure out how I want to do this, the shadowing in the chai areas. Okay, let's do that. Let's see how, maybe a little bit of chai in with it to make it closer to the original color. Yeah, no, it needs to be closer to the original. So it does need more chai. But it also needs the brown that's gonna darken and desaturate it a bit. Just want a little bit of something that looks more shadowed. Yeah, that's gonna work. Okay. All right, we're gonna go back in and rework that bit a little bit. Okay. Thin that out. And we're going to put a little highlight over the top of it. Not all of them are going to get that. It's just going to be the ones that are down in the darker area, or the chai area. Okay. You think of them as souvenirs from your life? Yeah. Yeah, things like fibro really make a difference. You're not playing by the same rules as everybody else. Your body isn't playing by the same rules as everybody else. You need to watch it too, Ray? Yeah. With tattoos, I don't. I can, but I don't need to. I don't feel like I don't feel the same compulsion to watch it. I like to watch it if it's in a spot that I can see, but I don't feel any like dread associated with not watching it, whereas I kind of do a little bit with regular needles. Not really dread. That's the wrong word, but like, I don't know. Doesn't feel right if I can't see it. It's like, what's going on? Are they doing it right? I think that's partly because I've had nurses, phlebotomists that, especially actually nurses that are not phlebotomists. Actual phlebotomists don't usually seem to have this problem, but I've had nurses that like have trouble finding veins on me. Not because my veins aren't huge. They are huge. They're huge and juicy. But they also tend to roll. And so they can find the vein, but then it goes away. It's like it dekes out of the way. It doesn't want you to get in there. And so I feel like there's a part of me that feels like I need to watch what they're doing when a needle is going in. Like I said, actual phlebotomists have never had this problem. It's always been fine. Okay. The 18 gauge horse needles, yeah. Big needles look scary, but I don't know. They're fine. For me. They're fine for me. I've donated blood a fair bit in my life, and so they use a pipe. They use a pipe for that. It's a pretty big needle that they use, and that's fine. I don't have any issue with that. All right, just trying to clean up these edges here a little bit on these guys before I start on that section. But I think that's the next thing, is going to be applying the texture to the eggs themselves, or whatever these things are. And I kind of got to figure out how I'm going to do that, because I do want it to look similar to what it looks like on the piece itself. They miss more when they use the big needles. I've not had that problem with the ones they use for blood donation. It's been completely fine. Nobody's ever fucked up when I've donated blood. Nobody's ever had trouble getting that one in. So I don't know what these other nurses' problem was. I don't know if it's me or if it's them or... Oh no. Bow and arrows. I feel like that's for a lot of kids. And it's psychological, right? Like, it's not even, nothing bad is happening to you. You're fine, but there's that psychological thing. It's rough. Okay. How do I want to try and do this? See, this is one of those situations where I kind of wish I had a toothbrush for this. But I don't. I don't have a spare toothbrush for this. What I do have is this thing, and I think that if I dry brush this, it will probably work. I'm gonna add a little bit of this, and I'm gonna add a little bit of this. I'm going to use this real messed up, ratty old brush here and hope that it does the trick. And if it doesn't, then we'll do something else. We might need to do something else. Because this is not giving the correct texture. Not at all. All right. Well, that's okay. We tried it, and it didn't work, and that's fine. We're just going to have to do it the slow way, I think, y'all. And that's okay, too. Just going to go back over it with the... Well, that's actually getting closer. Maybe if I start with that as the base and then do the more labor-intensive thing over top of it, that might do the trick. I don't know if that's... I have a hard time seeing on the screen how well how well you can see that. Yeah, sponge would work, I think, but I would need a much smaller piece for some of these itty-bitty guys. I'm not sure if it will work better. We can give it a shot. We can tear off a tiny piece and see. Yeah, it's literally their job to be able to get it in. Not one that I'm willing to hurt. I have larger flat edge brushes, but not ones that I'm willing to injure in the way that would be required to get this to work properly. Okay, let's try. Oh my god. Let us try this. I mixa with the brush. And then I apply with the sponge. Still not quite right, but okay for base. Okay for base. We will do this to start it, and then we will do a little more over top. Teensy little sponge scrap. It's ridiculous. I think having it a little drier will also likely help, but there's like sort of a correct range of dryness where it's useful, and then if it gets drier after that, it gets yet less useful again. So there's like kind of a perfect middle ground. Too wet. Too wet. We're just going to have to do a little back and forth here. We'll get there eventually. I'm also just being really picky about, because I really want to nail the texture on this part. Yeah, being hollered at for your skin existing in the way that it exists by a medical professional is like, that's not... What are you doing? What are you doing? That is very unreasonable. And also, that shouldn't make that much of a difference. I could have painted the blobs on thick and then do actual texture on them when tacky. Yeah, that could have potentially worked nicely. But it's too late, baby, yeah, it's too late. Christ, who did that song? Fellow olds, help me out. Who was that? I feel certain it was on Arista Records. Somebody here knows it. Yeah, the texture is what makes the mug the mug. I absolutely agree. Okay. I'm going to go back in here. Do a little bit of the sponge here, because I do think that the sponge is getting us closer, if not quite all the way there. Yep, that was too much. Okay, well, that's fine. All right. Carol King, thank you. Way to out yourself as fellow olds. Am I right? Was she on Arista Records? I feel confident she had to have been on Arista Records. It doesn't seem possible that she wouldn't have been on Arista Records. Yeah, sponging is really... When you're trying to get texture with a sponge, it is so easy to, like, overdo, as you have seen. You really have to kind of know when to stop. You gotta know when to hold the sponge, know when to fold the sponge, know when to walk away from the sponge, and you simply must know when to run. You know what? I'm not sorry. I'm not. I refuse to apologize for being the specific variety of dumbass that I am. Oh, this is becoming a problem. It's starting to fall apart. Ode Records, really? Not on Arista. Well, there you go, I guess. Doesn't she seem like it would have been an Arista Records sort of thing? I want this to be like just a little bit more bunchied up. Trying to like I'm trying to perform a kind of weird surgical origami here. Okay. Feels slightly more controlled like this. Listen. I'm allowed to call myself whatever I want. Wikipedia is almost certainly correct because that's not the sort of page that gets weirdly graffiti doesn't feel like quite the right word. There's like some kinds of pages that people are like maliciously changing all the time. And that doesn't seem like the kind of page that would be susceptible to that. Okay, we're really close to having the right textures happening here. We're not quite 100% of the way there yet, but we're really close. If there's like political stuff, I absolutely don't necessarily trust. And like women in non-traditional or like women in traditionally masculine jobs, those pages sometimes get fucked with by misogynists. But for the most part, like you don't have to worry too much about musicians' pages getting fucked with. Okay. A little more. We go back and forth. All right. Another small piece. All right. Trying to work with just the teensiest of scraps. We're going to get there eventually. I promise. Oh my God, I'm sweating. It is so freaking hot in here. This is like the opposite of that one cheer from Bring It On. You know the one. And if you're going to try and tell me you don't know the one, then you're a lying liar. I'm trying to use the driest, tackiest possible polish to apply this because it gives better texture that way. But it's also hard to control. Let me do the cheer right now. I said, "Brr, it's cold in here. There must be some clovers in the atmosphere." If you said toros, you're wrong. I know Sassy didn't say toros. Oh, Melissa, Melissa. No, not toros, clovers. Did you pay no attention? Are you having a dance break? All right, everybody, dance break. Except Melissa, remedial, bring it on. School. I forgive you, Melissa. The clovers might not forgive you, but I do. You know a white girl didn't make that up. Such a good line. Yeah. Yeah, that whole movie was just so silly and so fun. It's really good. It's really, really good. If anybody here has not seen Bring It On, you simply must. But like, watch it with the expectation that you are watching a movie about cheerleaders. Okay, so like, it's not. We're not talking about, you know, the arts. This is not cinema. This is not a capitalized art form. This is a movie about some fucking cheerleaders, and it is very fun. But yeah, you need to have realistic expectations. Okay. Now, next stage. I'm gonna get a little extra. Gonna get a little extra here. You've never watched Bring It On? You've watched But I'm a Cheerleader? I haven't seen that one. I like Bring It On because it feels like it is a satire of cheer culture while also managing to earnestly celebrate cheer culture. And that's a difficult line, I think, to ride. But they managed to do it. Like, it somehow is both lampooning and in utter adoration of that entire world of competitive cheer. And that just, it makes me happy. It makes me happy. Okay. This is doing it. This is doing it. This is the touch that we needed. I was hoping that this would do the thing. And it seems to in fact be doing the thing. But I'm a Cheerleader is about a lesbian that is in denial and is sent to one of those reform camps. Ooh. That sounds like it would be a little too intense. I wonder how many actual cheerleaders were cast as stunt doubles. Oh, I am confident that there were a fuck ton of actual cheerleaders. But also, like, I figure there's probably a fair number of, like, young actors that have done cheer, and so like there's probably a fair bit of overlap in that space, would be my guess. But yeah, I'm sure that like with the competition stuff, they probably definitely had like cheer teams for the competitors that didn't need to act. the teams that didn't need to act, that were actually just competing. Those are probably all just like cheer teams that have been working together for years. Because that would be the easiest way to do it, right? You don't have to choreograph everybody's routine. You can just get them to do a routine that they already know. You choreograph the important routines that the leads are doing, and you have to train all those actors to do stuff and be able to work together. But and have stunt doubles for them. But it makes a lot more sense to just use existing cheerleading teams for all the rest. I think I'm going to have to go in one more time with some more of the chai. Oh boy, yeah, I got some stringy bits here. All right, we're so close though, y'all. Oh damn, it's actually a comedy? Wow. It sounds like an intense comedy. Yeah, I'm sure all that information is out there, Sassy. It's probably not too hard to find. Okay. Last round. Ah! Dumping over my acetone. This is why we have acetone in a little cap instead of having the whole bottle open. All right. This also lets me be a little more precise than the sponge does, but it would have been way too much to try and do the whole thing with this. It would have been a stupid amount of work. This way we're just adding a little texture on top of the sponge work. Okay, y'all, I think I love this. I'm very much enjoying how this is coming out. This is starting to get a little bit too dry there. Melissa, you're 0-0. You're 0 for 0 today? Yeah, it's spirit fingers. Jazz hands, spirit fingers. They're different. But, you know, at least we can tell you've seen it. It's just been a little while. It's fine. It just means you have some homework to do. You just got to watch it again. And update yourself. And then you'll be all good. You can still sit with us, Melissa. It's fine. All right. A little bit up here. Whoop, that was too much. Gonna have to backtrack that a little bit. All right, I have a couple of spots where I need to do some tidying up around a couple of edges. Sassy, I'm going to be expecting a complete report, even though I won't know any of the teams. I don't need team names, but let me know if you find out if they were like high school teams or college teams, or if in fact they were teams at all. I mean, I assume they were. It would have been weird if they didn't. The be aggressive, be aggressive is a thing that pops out of my head, out of my mouth on a semi-regular basis, and not always when I'm really thinking about it. You have also seen But I'm a Cheerleader. So y'all are recommending But I'm a Cheerleader. Is that what I am to understand from this? Should we be watching But I'm a Cheerleader? All right. Just trying to clean up some of these edges a little bit so that it's not got the brown spongy bits over top. All right. Look at that. I think we're finished, y'all. You do recommend it? Okay. Well then. Oh, I should use the other stuff because I need to also clean up on my skin. I keep 2 different acetone bottles. Some of y'all already know this, but I don't think I've talked really recently about the acetone stuff. My skin is super sensitive, so I keep 2 kinds of acetone. One that's, I mean, not kinds of acetone, but like one that has basically an additive in it that keeps my skin from getting completely wrecked, and the other is just pure acetone. So for cleaning my bottles, and like, you know, any of my equipment, my tools, my brushes, all of that stuff, I use pure acetone. But when I have a separate bottle that I use for when I'm cleaning up my skin, and that one has a little bit of glycerin and water in it. And so the glycerin is just like from a baking supply. It's just standard baking glycerin, which like is the same as, you know, any other glycerin. It's just pure glycerin is pure glycerin. Can use any of them. And it's just like a little bit of that and a little bit of water to help the glycerin mix in with the alcohol. I know some people also add a scent to theirs, but I'm sensitive to most scented products, and so I don't add a scent to it. But yeah, it just keeps the acetone from being quite so hard on your hands, on your skin, and it's also less hard on your nails as well. It's less drying. So I use that for cleanup, so I don't get that like super harsh white thing. It's got RuPaul in it, yeah. It's here we are. It's just this Mine's from Wilton, which is, a baking company. But yeah. And I use, so this is a 4-ounce bottle. I put about half a milliliter, which is the same as a half cc of glycerin, and a little less than that of water. Put those in the bottom of the empty bottle first. Mix those, just shake them to mix them, and then add my acetone up to the top and shake again to mix that. And that's it. And then just every time it gets empty, I do it again. But yeah, it's good if you want a cheap alternative and an unscented alternative to the acetone antidote things. I am going to use seal glaze just in case. I really don't want any smudging with this. I don't know that it would necessarily smudge because there's no white or black, but this is a pretty dark brown, so I would be sad if it smudged. So I'm just going to use this as insurance. And then I will do a glossy top coat to protect it, and then a matte top coat so that it will look like the mug, and then I will take photos with the mug, which I think will be good and fun. It's not really a mug, tumbler, whatever. You have a big bottle of glycerin from Amazon that is baby oil? What? What do you mean is baby oil? You mean it's for applying to baby skin? Is it pure glycerin? Because that is sticky. Pure glycerin is sticky when it dries. It dries tacky. But yeah, glycerin is safe for the most sensitive skin, including babies. So there's like a little bit of a get rid of that. Don't know if that was a hair or a stringy bit of polish, but baby oil and glycerin mixed together. Is that? I assume that's what you mean. I like this, y'all. This is cute. It's gonna be even cuter once it's mattified for sure. But I'm very happy. I'm very happy with how this came out. I think we did a pretty good job. I think I nailed it. Yuck, yuck. All right. I'm gonna let this dry a little bit, and then do my top coat. So there was the Monarch release has been delayed slightly because of a pigment issue. So there was some question about what I was going to do for the next couple of streams. So I'm readjusting a little bit. So for Thursday's stream, I will be doing a live swatch and review of the Aculid Nails X Tyler's Trinkets collection that is coming out on the 18th. And then Tuesday will be a nail art stream again. And then Thursday will be the Monarch collection that you'll find out more about later. But she hasn't started teasing it at all yet, so I don't want to give any information about it yet, but the release has been delayed for that to the 28th, so we can do that next Thursday. So that's the current plan. And I don't know what I'm going to do on Tuesday, but I'm going to do something, and we'll figure it out later. I will post photos for this later on in the Discord, so y'all can see the finished product all mattified. But yeah, that's it. I think we're ready for top coat, but I think I will sign off for the moment, and I need to chug just a stupid amount of water and put my face in front of a fan for a while. Slowly die. I need to get these freaking lights off of my head. Horrible. All right. Thanks everybody for coming. Don't forget to click all the appropriate buttons and tell your friends about the hippopotamus. And I will see some of you on Thursday, and hopefully the rest of you on the following Tuesday. Goodbye.